Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. I'm the Badass Buddha, Lori Monaco, coming to you from, from Johnson City, Tennessee this morning. I see that we're already having issues with Facebook. Let me see if I could fix that while you, my fabulous co-host, introduce yourself.
Hola, mi gente, aquí con la Margarita, your gladiator guru. You know, we thank you every time for coming on to Viva every Tuesday and Thursday. My hair soaking wet. It's always an honor, and let's make it do what it do. Buenos días, milagritos.
Keep going.
She's still doing that. It is very wet here in Shelton, in Connecticut today. You know, when you wake up, I love rainy days. Anybody who knows me knows I love rainy days. But check out this t-shirt.
Okay, we're good. What is that? I match energy. So
how are we going to act today?
So how are we going to act? Oh, I like it.
Yeah.
I like
how
it.
How are we going to act?
Did you make that or did you buy that?
No. Oh, as a matter of fact, Iritza bought it for me.
Oh.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that is nice. I like that a lot.
I match energy.
Well, we are back on with, there we go. We're back on with Facebook. So that worked out. Thank goodness for that. I'm broadcasting from my phone. So I wasn't sure if I would be able to figure out how to do that, but actually it's pretty, I have to give it to StreamYard. They are pretty user friendly, even with using a phone. So thank you so much.
They really are.
So thank you so much for that. Good morning, Kathy. So yeah, today is independent as F. That's what the topic is today. We're going to be talking about coming to terms with the fact that who you are, who you have become, who you are becoming. That is, March is the becoming month. And we're going to be talking about who you are, who you are, who you're walking into April as. April's going to be the first full month of spring. We also have some phenomenal stuff going on in April. We have the solar eclipse, which comes on the 8th, I believe, which is a Monday. And
they say it's going to be crazy.
And it's very spiritual for a lot of people. Some people, it is what it is, but some people it's very spiritual. So for however it is for you, we're going to start the month off like very powerful. We're going to go through one full week and then boom, we're going to have that solar eclipse. So good morning, Gail. And so we're happy that you're here. So the goal for today is really to just relish in the fact that we are independent, that our lives revolve around us, like ourselves. That doesn't mean people revolve around us. It means that we revolve around ourselves. The people that are in our lives do gravitate around us, but each person holds their own little orbit. So while my orbit is me and everybody in my life revolves around me, I am but a mere planet revolving around other people in their lives. And we all work together to connect and navigate through this life. And the thing is that we want you to leave with is the fact that you are you, and your life affects a lot of people, but it mainly affects you. And you have to be that person that steps up. You have to be the main player there. And knowing that everything that you do will affect something or someone or something. And whether positive or negative, in the end, it doesn't really matter whether it's positive or negative. It just means that it affects. So what you decide, how you want to live your life, what you want to be, is up to you. If you decide that you want to be a miserable individual and make everybody's lives miserable, then you will succeed, because that is exactly what will happen. You'll be miserable and you'll make everybody else around you miserable. But if you decide that you want to become and you want to be a beautiful spirit for yourself, and then exude that energy on other people, then that's what exactly what you will do. Gail says, I did an exercise today, stepping out of my thoughts and observing them. This reflected me being able to be responsible for those thoughts and the outcome of my life. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's true, you get what you give. Nobody owes you anything. You don't deserve anything. You literally get what you give out of life.
Yes.
You give kindness and gratitude, mercy and grace, then that is what you will receive from strangers, from people you've never met, in places you never thought you would be. Your car got stuck in the middle of West Bumblefuck, and now you have to walk somewhere, and you're like, I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone, but then you meet the best people. That's why you have to always be open. You have to always accept things the way you want people to accept all of your little quirks and your
Right.
flaws. And a lot of people forget that you get what you give.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're being very kind to somebody and then you built this expectation that they need to give it right back to you, or you get into an argument, oh, but how about when I did this, and this? Those are the worst people in my book. When cuando sacan en cara, when they throw in your face everything they've done for you. Remember that when you do something for someone out of kindness, that person doesn't owe you, they pay it forward.
Right.
It's
Exactly.
always the least person you expect that's going to come and be the you in your life that you needed at that moment. Being independent means that you can take care of yourself. Doesn't mean you want to all the time. You get tired. There are those moments you're exhausted of always being the doer in your life. But at the end of the day, there's no disappointments. You get exactly what you want because you're the one wanting it. And then you learn the trial and errors of completing that said task. So when someone else is doing it and complaining, you understand where they're coming from. And then you can offer assistance, physical, or hey, listen, and maybe if you do it this way or that way, it would help. The bottom line is that when you're going out in this world and you're claiming to be independent as fuck, be independent as fuck.
Yes.
Meaning, be kind, be generous, have mercy on people, use discernment. That's being independent. It's not that you can go to work, drive yourself to work, change the tire on your car, earn a paycheck, come home and buy all the luxuries you want because you deserve it because you got up, changed the tire, and went to work. No. Dios te bendiga, papi. Being independent meaning that you are aware of yourself, of your flaws and your flowers, that you make sure you water them accordingly, both. And when you go out into the world, you give the same honor and respect to the individuals that you have given yourself, knowing that you are perfectly imperfect, trying to make it right until your last breath. Being independent means you're growing and you're learning and you're teaching and you're sharing. It's all of that. Independence, they have so misconstrued it with material. Oh, she's independent. She owns her own house. She owns her own car. She owns a timeshare. If you ever listen to people speak about independent people, they're always bringing out the material aspect of their independence, not their actual inner spiritual growth, where they can see beyond what the lets them see and know, let me come over here. Maybe somebody just needs a hug. Maybe somebody just needs a hello. Maybe Toji needs, and I love you this morning. Thank you for being strong. Keep going. You got this. That's being independent because you're free of jealousy. You're free of intimidation. You're free of sabotaging. That's my take on it. Badass, go ahead.
Well, I love how you said right in the beginning that being independent is it's important and it's necessary. I'm paraphrasing, but then you said even when we don't want to always be independent, and that's very true. I mean, and that's the beauty of it, is that it's fully recognizing oneself, knowing oneself so well, knowing what they like, knowing what you love, what you don't like, what you don't love, what you'll tolerate, what you won't tolerate, um, knowing when you feel vulnerable and admitting it to yourself and maybe to other people, knowing when you need to ask for help, knowing when you don't need to ask for help, and you'll be the one that's providing the help. But in the end, it's about you being uh like very clear, like who are you? That's what we're going to leave this month with, is who are you? Who is it that you want to be? Like I'm sitting here, right? So I'm at a medical center because my middle daughter is having oral surgery today. And I'm just, this just made me think of this, is that there's a woman that just got out of a car and she could barely walk. And she looks like she might be a little bit older than me, or might even be my age. And I'm not saying anything judgmental against her. What I'm saying is that I look at that and say, I that's not me. I don't want to be an individual who's walking around, who could barely walk. Looks like she's walking into a medical center because she's probably coming for some sort of visit. I don't want to be that person that can barely move. I want to be a person who's physically active up until a ripe old age. And in order for me to do that, I have to be very clear on what, my whys. Like, why do I want to be that way? Well, because I want to participate in my life until I can no longer breathe anymore. So that means that in order for me to stay very mobile and wake up with no pain and be able to move and be very active and not suffer the next day for my activities and like be out for a day or two because I overdid it the day before, I have to make the necessary choices today that will keep me in good health, that will keep me very active, which means that I've got to move. I've got to make better choices with what I eat. I've got to check in with myself all the time. I have to challenge my body. I have to, but I also want to challenge my mind, because I also don't want to be a person who's in really good physical condition and doesn't know where I am half the time.
Mhm.
So I have to also challenge myself mentally. So not only do I want to contribute to my life physically, but I also want to be there mentally. So I have to look at it by saying, what choices do I make today that are conducive to that? And that's the important thing about it, is when you decide, this is who I am independent, and this is who I am, and you're unapologetic about it. Like, this is me. This is who I am. I'm not going to change myself for you. Um, it's very empowering, and what it does is it also empowers the people that are around you, and that's, but we need a lot more of that. We need very strong people in this world, because this world is very crazy, and it's very unpredictable. So we need strong independent people encouraging other people to be independent and strong. And then, but at the same time, even though you're independent, you know how important you are to this world. You know how important connections are. So again, even though you're independent, you're not self-centered. You're centered self. You take care of you, and you're clear on you, knowing that you do affect other people and
Mhm.
situations around you. And again, if you want to be having a positive effect, then you have to be very clear on creating a positive you.
And when you say about the independence, let me tell you something. To be independent, you have to be aware. To be aware, you have to hold yourself accountable. To
Yeah.
hold yourself accountable, you need to know things. So read. If I can tell anybody, well, how do I get to where I need to get to be the full me? Read.
Yeah. Keep
Because
learning.
reading a book, listen, I'm reading a book right now that hasn't been published, and I repeated a chapter in between some chapters I read, and I'm loving it. I used to read more than I do now because I've allowed myself to tell myself that I am busy. So last night I was up, I'm trying to go to sleep, and I'm thinking and I'm navigating to where I want to be. And what I saw were a lot of books. When you read one book, it expands your acceptance of different roles, different people, different cultures. It enhances your vocabulary. It tickles your imagination where it becomes awake again from when you were a child. Because when you're reading a book, now you're imagining seeing these characters in the outfits that they're describing, doing what they're describing to be doing. And then without you realizing, you finish that book, your imagination is full blooming now. When we're so busy being busy, we don't get that way. To be independent means that you are in tune with your five senses. You can see, you can hear, you can smell, you can taste, you can touch, you can feel. When you're living every day in tune with those five senses, you are alive. When you are alive, you are aware, and then you become independent. Let me tell you something. That word gets thrown around just like authentic and just like those other awake words, right? But no one's really doing the work. It's like fake it till you make it, but then they got stuck in the fake part and they believe they made it. Instead of burning those cells into things that aren't happening, read a book, engage in difficult conversations that may have scared you a year ago because, oh my God, what if they want me to say something? I'm not understanding what's going on. Just say, no, I'll pass for now. Thank you. I'm just enjoying listening. There's ways you can learn how to go about placing yourself in somewhere in a group of people to learn so that when you walk away, you're walking away with trophies, those trophies that are going to still be instilled within you and help you grow into your independence. Because we are so afraid of what we don't know that we don't learn, so we don't become. And again, being independent is taking control of that word is even too strong for what I want to say. It's living your best life, is living in your healing, it's living in your wellness. Being independent is exactly what the badass Buddha said, is not walking somewhere, barely walking, not doing things that are going to hinder or obstruct your growth. Being independent means showing the fuck up for yourself, even when you don't want to be there. Because sometimes those are the best experiences you have. Like, I don't even want to come here. And you had the best time. So be proud of who you are, even if you're not where you want to be. When you're so focused on you, you're not envious of those around you. When you're so focused on you and saying, oh my God, I'm not where I want to be, but damn if I'm not getting closer, you're not jealous or hating on someone else. Because really, I've been reading this quote for years now, and I've never repeated it, but it's so funny when it says, self sabotaging, lack of self care, lack of self love, all of those lacks is like because now you're filled with jealousy and intimidation and what's the other one? There's another one.
Envy.
Envy. So it's like um feeding poison to someone, but you're the one who something I can't even get it right. If somebody knows that quote, it's like you're giving poison to someone, but you're taking it yourself.
Mm.
You're like feeding. I don't know. You're drinking the poison, hoping the other person will die, or something like that. I don't know. I'm gonna find it because I know um, where that goes. But what I'm saying is, to be independent means you're gonna get up and you're gonna say, "I'm gonna go fuck what anybody says today, how anybody tries to direct me, how anybody tries to trip me. I got to do what I got to do." And even if that means you're going to rest your body for half a day, because you know that later on in the day, you're building a 14 shelf monstrosity. That's me. She's me. So,
But one thing I'm going to interrupt on is that it's not even just about listening to the other people. I don't care what they're going to say. I don't care what they're going to think, but you also have to say it about yourself too, because that's that we are the worst critics. We are our worst critics. We worry more about what other people say and think about us, but the reality is what do we truly think and say about ourselves? And that's where we get hung up in the jealousy and the envy and the intimidation, because we allow ourselves to believe that we are less than. And that's what you have to get up with, is saying, listen, I may not be where I want to be, but I'm better than I was. And there's like, I'm never going to be the smartest person in the room, but I'll still be smarter than somebody. I'll never be the richest person in the room, but I'll still be richer than somebody. And in the end, what does it really matter? What does it really matter? Because perhaps a lot of the people that you meet are living a facade anyway. So we sometimes get jealous and envious of a person's life when it's a law all built on a lie anyway. So don't worry about what they're all doing. That's basically what Gladiator Guru was saying, is don't worry about what everybody else is doing. Worry about yourself, and don't put yourself down if you're not where you want to be. You just say, what do I need to do then to get myself where I want to be? I had a conversation with my daughter on the way here, and she still gets hung up on her excuses. Like, she's been wanting to learn to be fluent in Spanish, and we've tried numerous times to get her going, and she's not self-motivated, nor does she schedule herself to do it. And when I bring it up to her, she just doesn't want to talk about it. She's like, oh, I know. And I'm like, yeah, because you don't want to hear me say it, because it's the truth. It's like, you don't want to hear me say that you have time to do this, but you don't schedule yourself. You don't push yourself to do it. She's always asking, oh, let's try to figure this out. No, I'm done. I'm not figuring anything out for you anymore. No matter what I do and say, you're not following through. So I'm not the problem here. The problem is you. And I get it, because I do the same stuff. So it's not like I'm trying to make you feel bad. I'm trying to say is, I already know my faults. I'm working on myself. And I flat out told her, I'm like, she's like, I want to, I think it'd be easier if I work with you, if we both do it together. I said, listen, as much as I want to be fluent in Spanish, and I do, I'm like, I don't have room for it right now in my plate. And I will be honest about that, because I know I'm not going to make the time to do it. So don't add me to that so that I make you less responsible and accountable, because that's what she was trying to do. So I told her right off the cuff, I know me, I'm not going to do it, because it's not a priority right now with all the stuff that I have going on. I'm like, but you have a lot of time. So if you're not making the time, it's not a priority. It's about understanding self and deciding what is important in your life, what is important and what's not, what needs to be there and what doesn't need to be there anymore. And it's
Mm-hmm.
time. It's like, how many times can we talk about this on this show? We've been here for 4 years. We're going to be celebrating our fourth year in May, and we've talked about this so many times. And we are guilty of it too. Don't think we're like coming at you. We're guilty of it too. Is we have to be reminded of these things. That's why we repeat ourselves.
You do. And I hope that I was clearly, I didn't know that what I said was confusing.
No,
Good
it
morning,
wasn't. Added
Amanda
on. I just added on to it.
and Brenda. No, that was good because you know what? We're so busy being busy that we never do. And then we get angry when we're asked, why aren't we doing what we said we were going to do? And then we come up with excuses or an attitude. And that's totally your issue and not mine. I agree with what you said because you know what? I don't even like people venting to me anymore. Um, Edie, I think Edie's on. And Gail, you're right. Eat intentionally, rest your body when it needs, clear your mind and heart, be strong with boundaries, hold myself and my needs first from love. Absolutely. And that's something we need to remind ourselves on a daily. But we make excuses. Oh, someone needs me. Oh, I got to do this or I got to do that. And then it becomes a venting session. I could never get my stuff done because I'm expected to do this and I'm expected to. You got 24 hours in a day, boo boo.
Yeah.
Figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
You can rearrange your schedule. Now, if you're a hard ass and you lack self trust, self belief and self respect that you have to be so super controlling and say, well, I set this for my day to be between 2 to 4, and now they want me to do that, and it's thrown my day to shit. You got to reevaluate yourself. How tight did you build that that boundary, that schedule for yourself? Life isn't a routine, it isn't a tight schedule. Life happens when you least expect it. We've heard that all our lives. When you I'm gonna say this, and if it offends anybody, I'm sorry. And if it does, I'm sorry. And if it does, I'm sorry. When you lack certain parts of your life, you are anal with your schedule. And if anything pokes your schedule or makes you shift it to the side, that's it. You lost it. Your day's gone to fuck. You're upset. How could
Yeah.
that happen? I already had my day planned. So what does that say about your flexibility? And if you're that hardcore about a schedule, that, I mean, unless you will have an open heart surgery at that specific hour, anything can do or go a certain kind of way. Why are you so rigid? It all goes back to you. It has nothing to do that I interrupted your 2 to 4. Like, oh my God, I have a 911, or I need you, or can you do this? Whatever the case may be, if you're so worked up, now here you are being, I'm independent, I make my own money, I pay my own bills, but you can't shift a schedule or so. And I'm just using this for an instance because sometimes we believe we are more than what we really are. And that's a facade. And that's lying to yourself. So when you can't shift your schedule because, oh no, I already set my schedule for the week, this is how it is, please go back. Identify what it is that you're so like this about. Is it fear? Is it you can't function with more than one thought at a time? That if I break the schedule, what that I don't know what to do the rest of my day? Is it like, what is it? Identify it. Because to be independent means you go with the flow. There's nothing more beautiful than going with the flow, yet being responsible. I know what I got to do in my 24 hours. I know that 6 of those hours I'm going to be sleeping. So, what are we doing with the rest of the time? Are we engaging in fruitful conversation that's going to carry us to the next day? Or are we allowing people to repeat, regurgitate the same story over and over? And then you're like dizzy in your head. You have the right, when, as an independent, honorable woman, you have the right to tell somebody, I don't want to hear your shit no more. It gives me a headache, or I'm like, my mind is like trying to spit it out. It's coming out my nose and my mouth, my throat's tickling. You have to stop somebody from repeating the same negative story to you. That's independence as well. You don't have to offend them. You got to say, listen, we already talked about this. There were solutions that were, we laid out a couple solutions. You can handle it, how you can handle it, how you can go about it. Why are we back here? Or like, why the fuck are we still having this conversation? We already had it 3 days ago, 3 days in a row. So, I mean, it's really up to you how you're going to handle it, but it's really your responsibility to be independent as fuck to say, I protect my energy. I'm protecting my peace. I am
Right.
here for you to the end of the road. I'll give you the shirt off my back if you're cold, but we will not continue to spend hours a day in this low vibrational flow of negativity. Being independent is also really standing up for yourself in a way that you're teaching others how to stand up for themselves. Being independent is being of service, not being selfish. That's how being independent as fuck is. You are saying, God is within me, so I matter, which means everyone I come in contact with was placed there on purpose, so they in turn matter. So, how are we going to make this a better world for the people that matter to be in it? You're not, how many people are in this world? You're not meeting all of them. And the people you do encounter are the ones you're supposed to. Whether you're on vacation and you meet somebody from India in Chicago. Why? Of all places. So that's how you have to be at looking at life independently, looking around, appreciating what comes your way, even the problems, because those problems are just lessons. And when you learn them and when you accept them, then you are saying, I'm independent of everything and anyone around me, that I can say, what am I supposed to learn from this? Go ahead. Hi, Chanel. My brother's on. Jason, J Hood.
The the big word that stood out for me and with everything that you said was peace. Because in the end, that's really
Oh,
what it's about.
wow.
It's about your peace. It's about you
Protecting it
deciding.
at all costs.
That's right. That's right. And if we understood that from the beginning, and we've had shows on this, we've had at least a couple of shows on this. If you understand how important your peace is, you would protect it a lot more. And protecting it means is being clear on who you are and how you want to be treated, how you treat yourself, and how you want to be treated. How you allow yourself to be treated by other people is usually a huge reflection of how you treat yourself deep down. I mean, I know that was definitely for sure for me. I mean, I let people take advantage of me because I was very insecure, and people had very little respect for me because I didn't have any respect for myself. When I decided that that was enough and I wasn't going to do that anymore, it became very noticeable how other people were towards me. It became noticeable how people were in general. And then that's when it made it easier for me to say, oh, I don't really want to be around that type of person. I don't want to be around that person. And in the beginning it was a judgment of, oh, I don't like that person, they're a jerk, I don't want to be around that person. But then it morphed into, because we're always evolving and growing, it worked into, you know what, that's their journey. If that's how they want to live their life, who am I to say? But it's not somebody that I want to be around because it just does not align with who I am. And that's the approach that I've learned to take over the last like year, especially the last. It started in I guess, early 2020 or summer of 2023, and again, we are constantly growing. So if you're just getting this hit in your head right now, and you're going, "Oh my God, I'm 55 years old," it's just a light bulb moment. Just be grateful for the light bulb moment. It doesn't matter if you're 55, 45, 25, 85, as long as you wake up and you get it.
Mommy wants to do your hair.
That's the key piece, is that you finally woke up. And if it means living your life to the fullest for whatever amount of years you have left, then do it. Then do it. And be unapologetic about it. We're not saying for you to go out and blow all your fortune because you just want to go out and travel. But if you decided that I've done nothing with my money, again, I always think of the movie with Queen Latifah, the Holiday, because
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly what she did. She played small and quiet and took the conservative road, and didn't want to tread a lot of water, and or make waves rather. And then when she thought she was going to die, she was like, oh my God, I never lived. So she decided to just go ahead and do what she could. And then the irony is when an individual just starts to just live and be who they are meant to truly be, the irony is like, right, she starts to blow through the money that she has, and then she goes and gambles, and she like triples the money that she had. And she's like, are you kidding me? Because, like, what am I going to do with this money? you
And
know
she gave it away.
did she give it away? I thought she
She
used to
gave it
do.
away. She donated it.
Oh, she.
Yes, there was politicians there. She did donate it to a church. Because
Oh,
you know what? You said something, don't go on vacation. Don't just travel and blow all your money. You know what? Traveling is enrichment. And I say that because I love to, and because I'm preparing to set out on another camino. And I've had money and I didn't have money. And then I've had money. So my money has always been like that. I'm never afraid when I don't have money. As long as I have my milk, coffee, sugar, And my cigarettes, I'm straight. I have enough people that love me and that I love that I can go eat when I'm hungry. I think to be healthy, you have to do what is right for you.
That's right. Yes.
When I said about your peace, everything that I said regarding that about protecting your peace is how you protect your peace. You cut out the negative people. You cut out the envious people. And sometimes your scissors aren't sharp enough, but trust me, they will be cut out. Because people who lie to themselves trip over themselves, and their true colors always come out. But that is not your problem, and it is not on your agenda to figure it. Leave those cigarettes to trade for. Let me tell you something. The same way as Chanel, my beautiful cousin, who may love her rum and coke, that's how my cigarettes are for me. Um, when you come to the place that you are who you are and you've accepted yourself, you will accept everyone for who they are, and then you will know where to place them.
Right. Exactly.
So it
Perfectly
is
said.
not your job to judge. Why are you envious of someone's spirit? I can see if you were envious of the pocketbook they're carrying, of the shoes they're wearing, maybe the car they're driving, because you can go and buy those things, but you could never, never have my spirit. You could never pretend to be me. I'm just saying me because I'm talking about it. So, any one of us, nobody can be who we are. Nobody can be me. They can repeat me. They can say what I say, but they'll never say it with the oomph that I say it with. It is my spirit. It is my essence. It is my aura. Now, when people are like, oh, they're hating on me because of my car, people don't hate on you for material stuff, but they can go out and buy it. It's always deeper than that. It's what they're lacking inside. So I say to those, find out who you are. You're still breathing, you're still alive, you still have the opportunity to learn who you are so you can stop being someone you're not. Because the more you pretend to be someone you're not, the more envy stirs within you, the more ugh. And it's only towards yourself. It's really not towards the person, but because you're a coward, you would blame other people for your unhappiness. Am I right, badass?
Yeah. Yep.
So when you don't have, or you don't understand how you're miserable and how they can own what they have, it's really towards self. So sometimes when that happens, take a step back from yourself, write it down, because then that would help you identify what's missing in your life. To be independent is to be a student. Let's just put it that way. Every day we learn, but every day you have to show up for class. You cannot wake up and say, I know this. I got this. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. And then you're constantly tripping over yourself. As the badass Buddha and Gail always say, vulnerability. Be vulnerable. This morning, what do I need? What the hell I need to be slapped in the face with today? What reality do I need to center myself in today? That's being independent. It's knowing where our flaws are and working through them. And we're going to be mad and because we got to face the uglies within ourselves, because in order to sit in that peace, we got to remove the garbage that we have allowed to sit within us. And we can go on with stories. There's stories of people of here and there, but discernment is choosing wisely, is judging wisely. So there's people who you don't need to have in your life no more. There's people who you need to remove from your life because you're adding toxicity to their life.
Yeah.
That is true independence.
Hmm.
To say, I need to remove myself because, they're always happy. And every time I go there, I'm like a party pooper because I have issues that I need to resolve.
Yeah.
We're always like, I don't even want to be with them because every
That's
time
a
we
hard
show
one.
up,
Listen, and that's a hard one because it's much
mm,
easier to say, well, they're the toxic people. I don't want to be around them. But when you have to admit to your own toxicity, and again, you don't have to hang out with people that it's not that they're triggering you and making you feel uncomfortable. It is unresolved stuff that you have to work on. But it also could be what's hitting you too is that it's not the person, these are not the people that they're not part of your tribe. and it's okay. Stop forcing it. Just pull yourself, work on yourself. And then if you come back and you're happy and you're around those people, great. But if they still if being around them makes you feel miserable, then maybe that's the key. Maybe it's those people. It's just you're just again, it has nothing to do with them necessarily being toxic. It just has to do with the fact that it's oil and water. It just does not mix, and it's okay. Not
If
everybody is for everybody.
no, but if you're around people first, you do have to identify, is it me? Because a lot of the times it is us. We're walking around with all this baggage, with all this ay bendito, with all this woe is me. And then we want to just throw up on everybody with the same story. Every time we meet, it's the same story. Or you walk in and you're with that sad face because you just want attention. Oh, somebody asked me what's wrong. Sometimes the hardest battle you're going to face is you, because we walk around with this woe is me, when nobody understands me, well, my childhood and my environment I grew up in, we grew up, we're here, what's up? So when you're with a group of people that you are familiar with and the things are just not, take a step back. Is it that they've grown and they're going in a different direction from me and I haven't woken up and I haven't decided where I want my life to go at 55? Of course, they're going to keep going because they have their own journey. Now we're mad because they're leaving us behind. Or is it that they decided to take a different path because every time they invite me and I'm coming with all the same problems of everyone around me that upset me instead of me figuring it out. You don't have to carry everybody's cross because you got your own or your life. You don't have to agree with conversations. You can excuse yourself out of them. Okay, or like me, here we go again. Are we going to talk about this again? Sometimes they need that reminder. And sometimes you just need to say it to tell them to shut the hell up. Either way, you own your life. You're in charge of your space. So you cannot say, oh my God, I was here today and this person just kept on and on and on. You chose to stay. You see, this is what independence is about. It's about taking your leave. It's about saying, And in your head, you can say, I ain't going through this shit again. Listen, I got to go. I'll see you next week. And you remove yourself. If it's somebody you love and you trust and you're there with them, remind them, we're going to hear this shit again. How many times I got to hear this story? How many times you got to repeat it before you get it that you need to let it go? You know where you're at, whom you're with to make those things. But the thing is, you are responsible for where you're at. Unless you're stuck in an elevator, say, excuse me, I'm out. Got to go. And remove yourself. If you're sitting there with the chance to leave, but you're still sitting there, it's because you want to hear it. You want to be engrossed in that negative energy that you're going to carry all day long. Somebody wants to say good morning.
Yay, good
Say buenos dias. She's so happy. Oh, she wants you to see her dress.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I mean, here's what the badass said. Mama, say hi. When you walk, you walk. It's body, mind, spirit, and soul. There's only one of you in this lifetime. Only one. With all these 7 billion people, whatever they say. There's only one of you. One set of your fingerprints, one set of your dentures, one set of your spirit. Only one of you. People can imitate you. People can pretend to be you. There's only one of you. So you got to protect that at all costs. And by protecting it, it's by becoming aware of who you are. It's about understanding what you lack and what you're fruitful in. It's knowing what you need to learn, what you need to eliminate. It's learning that you're going to trip and fall on this journey and you're going to get up, you're going to dust yourself off and you're going to keep going to where you need to be. Because at the end of the day, it all depends on you. You can have 5 kids, you can have no kids. Their livelihood depends on the choices you make. the choices you make so that you're leaving a legacy. So to be independent as fuck is to say, you need my shirt because I got an extra one in the trunk. And literally, if needed, take that shirt off and give it to somebody. And you also have the right to say, back up, I don't need you in my space, and move on. Being independent, saying, I see you, I know you, I smell you, but I don't have time for you. Or to have open arms and accept people into your life. Being independent is saying, I honor, respect, and love myself to know when and where and how to walk away or stay.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. So the question is, what are you becoming this month? What have you become? What are you becoming? And as we head into April, what is it that you're walking into this springtime in your life? Who are you representing? What part of yourself are you representing? What are you going to let in? What are you not going to let in? This is it. This is no, it's time. It's time to, and for those of you that have been working on yourselves, what extra work do you still need to do? What's still lacking in your life that you feel that, hey, you know what, I did really great the last few years, but what else still needs to be done so that you could sort of coast? Because there is going to be a time where you are really feeling yourself and you've stepped into yourself, and you don't have to keep climbing. It's you're allowed to coast. You're allowed but the key is to just be open to new adventures, learning. But you don't have to be diving into it first and so like stressfully once you
Mm-hmm.
get there, because you'll know when you get there. When you've created the nirvana in your life, you'll know you're there because you'll feel it, and you'll be like, this is wonderful. I am so grateful. This wanted and exactly where I wanted to be, and enjoy it. Like when they talk about, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. It's about both, because the goal is to get to the destination, and maybe the destination you stay there for a year, and then after a while you're like, you know what, I want to add on to this destination, I want to add more to it. That's the beauty of it, is that's the beauty of evolving and growing, is that you do enjoy where you are at this moment in time, and then if you start to feel something, you say, okay, what am I feeling, what am I sensing? Oh, I need to add something else. Like I like to travel. My traveling is different than my sisters and gladiators. But right now, I'm content with being where I am. I'm creating something. However, I said to my daughter that I love our road trips. I like when we pack in the car, we get up early, and we have a destination and we're going to explore. And she's going to be moving back up north, in the middle of June to go to school and to work. And I said, I wonder if we could get a little, even if it's a few days, like a road trip in before you go. And she's like, I really like that. So even though I've been very focused on here and now in my environment, I'm still looking, also going to, well, in the next few months, could we do a little traveling? It's not like we're going to South America or Europe. It's still enough to where it's something that we feel like we're adventuring, because that's important to me, is to be an adventurer. And my definition of adventurer is not necessarily traveling far distances. It could be just going hiking in the Smoky Mountain National Forest, which is 30 minutes from the house, and exploring that, and finding things with my little daughter, who always is like looking for skulls and rocks and all kinds of critters. But I'm clear on that. My adventure is, we got a goat. For heaven's sakes, we bought a goat a couple of weeks ago. That's an adventure, and I'm loving it. I love this stupid goat. This goat is too cute. But the point being is that that's not for everybody. Like not everybody's going to want to do that, but I know I do. And I know the responsibility that comes with it. I know all the things now I have to consider when I am going away. What am I going to do with the goat? Who's going to take care of the goat? I'm well aware, because I made that choice, and that is a part of my life. So it's about accepting yourself, falling in love with yourself, not lying to yourself, accepting who you are at this moment in time. And if you're not 100% satisfied with who you are, then do the work necessary to get you to be the person that you want to be. And don't make the excuse that you're too old, it's too late, I don't know how to start, I don't know what to do. There's so much information out there. The only thing you just have to be careful not to get overwhelmed. And that's where you get guidance from certain people, friends, coaches, whatever, to say, hone it in a little bit. Then if you want to do all of this, but you're overwhelmed, start with this.
Mm-hmm.
Little steps, and then it gets bigger and bigger. And then next thing you know, you're a different person.
Yes, I'm happy you brought up that you have a goat. It's the cutest thing. Also, I wanted to say for everybody who's come on, hello, hello, hello to
Yes.
everybody. The badass Buddha is not at her computer. She's normally the welcome crew, typing everybody's name in so we didn't forget you. Just know that we love you and we see that you're here, Madeline, Diana, Amanda, and all of you above.
Denise.
But yeah, absolutely. It's always walking. This will be my fourth time on the Camino, even though it's an amendment of my third trip. But I tell you, they say that it's about the journey and not the destination. And you're right, it is, because you are walking towards something, whether it's day trips in your community, whether it's little car trips, from state to state. They're all important because it's what happens while you're in that journey that makes a destination all the more welcoming and like, yeah, we did it and exciting. It's an accomplishment. When you have a terrible journey and there's bickering or you're just in your head all the time, you don't really get to experience that destination with so much joy. Um, but me walking in the Camino, when I went to Asia, I love Arizona. I love going there. I've driven to California from Connecticut. Um, and that's all dandy. I prefer to travel out. I prefer um, to travel outside this country. So when I hear everybody with the day trips and Lori, she's done a lot of road trips and they're beautiful scenery. I like to see that. I think that's what brings us all in together. That we do different things, but we can appreciate what everyone does because it brings us all here. Like, oh my God, that's beautiful. You drove through there. What time in that? And I think that's what makes this world go round is the many differences that we share, the many differences that we experience, and then the courage to share it with strangers or to share it. Oh, listen, I'm going here and I'm going to do this, and then the pictures. And I believe that when you speak of places you've been to and you speak to it with so much oomph, that person listening to it who's never been there can feel it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beauty of any journey you take is that when you reach any destination and you're talking about it, it brings excitement to those who've never dared to travel. I know people who say, oh, I just don't like to travel. It's because they're hesitant and they're fearful and maybe they have a million and one excuses. I don't know. I was born to travel. And yeah, I was just going to say that, Diana. And I am, my ancestors have taught me to be a storyteller. So when you do storytelling and you do it with all the like my father used to do, he had all the y le hice and there's so much theatrics to it that it's like wow. And he could have told the story 20 times and 20 times we were excited about it.
Yeah.
Present yourself. When you sit in your peace and you invite your power back, there's nothing that can stop you from becoming the person you need to be. But the thing is, you got to believe in who you are. And when you're walking your path, there's no traffic. There's nobody cutting you off or doing anything. You're on your path. And when you merge, say hi to people. Maybe stop and have some coffee, do something. But what you got to do is be who you were born to be. And you don't know who it is. And that's the fun part. You're discovering by you're falling, you're getting up, you're swimming, you're dancing, you're doing all these things that are going to add to your life. But be the storyteller of your life. And when you're going to tell a story, tell it with truths. Don't make shit up. I don't want to hear a fairy tale. I want to hear exactly what you did, because then you're teaching others how to be strong. You're teaching others how to unwind. You're teaching others how to come out of something. That is called being a independent person that has
I gotta
value.
go.
Oh, you're leaving?
I gotta go. Well, I gotta. My daughter's ready, so from her surgery, so I've got to pick her up
Well,
at the
let's
top of
end
the.
it here. Let's end it here.
Okay. So listen, we everybody have a great weekend. We will see you on Tuesday. It will be April, and we'll welcome it together. So from the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary.
And I have to show my T-shirt again.
And her
It says,
titties.
"I match energy." So how we gonna act today? Thanks, Iritza. I just thought it was an amazing T-shirt. Yes. So, mi gente, remember to breathe in the beauty and breathe out the bullshit. Namaste.